Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Verging Reality.
Hello,
Uh,
hello, hello.
I am Rabbit Penguin and joined by
John Grant,
my
how you doing?
partner in crime, John Grant.
Yes, that's me.
He just said it. It's John.
All right,
It's John Grant.
that's me.
Anyway, we are going to be doing our week in
Oh,
review, where basically this is going to be a weekly show where we are going to discuss various virtual augmented mixed reality news items in technology that we saw this week that got us really excited and we just wanted to talk about it. We couldn't wait. So we're going to hit you with a couple of really quick things because we don't really need to talk a lot about them. The new Gear VR was launched.
oh yeah,
What, last week or so, week and a half ago? Um,
yeah.
right around the same time as the Galaxy Note 7. Um, the obvious difference, obviously, if you've seen I don't have mine near me, but if you've seen the original Gear VR, it's white, works with the S6, S7s, I think S5s as well, or no, Note 5, not the S5s, but the Note 5. So Note 5, S6, S7s had about a 90-degree field of view. The new Gear VR is black, looks a lot better to me already. It's made to work specifically with the Note 7 out of the box, but it does have an adapter that will allow it to work with all the phones that it worked with before. So you don't have to throw away your Note 5. Whoa, stop. Don't throw it away. You can hold on to it. It'll work. It has an adapter. You don't have to run out and get a Note 7 unless you just, really want to get rid of that cracked screen because you've dropped it like 7 times. So
Yeah.
it's supposedly a little lighter. It's got some other cool features. Got its own home button now instead of having to tap uh, the controller. It's let's see what wider field of view. So now it's got I think it's 100-degree field of view, 105 something like that, which makes a difference. Trust me. You get
Hmm.
this sense of almost feeling like you have goggles on when the field of view is not quite right. So it's nice. They're actually, I mean, that puts them more in line with an Oculus or a Vive, having a field of view that high. So really cool. We'll be getting one. We'll do a review when we do get them, and we'll let you know what we think about them compared to the original Gear VR. And hopefully they've made some changes to things like being able to see light on the side. I've read from some others the black color does help keep light bleed from coming in.
Yep.
So when we get them, we will
And
play around with them and let you know.
even the angle against the face, from the difference from the Innovators Edition to the latest one, or
Yeah.
the one before this one, my hope is this has gone back to it. And when you look at the kind of cloth cushioning for the face on it, it looks like it looks comfortable. So my hope is they've gone back to a little bit more of a curve, so it fits your face well. Because the other ones were just like pushing right inside here,
Mm-hmm.
and they weren't. It wasn't a real good fit. So hopefully they've made that
Yeah.
adjustment.
The new one in a lot of ways reminded me in a weird way of cardboard because cardboard doesn't quite form to your face like
Yeah.
we were used to with the old gear, the Innovators Edition. So,
With the oh hey, check it out. I see the sensors now.
showing the sensors, yep.
Yeah. So with your naked eye you can't see it, but the purple shows the sensors in the video camera. Now I wonder if I put my the base stations on the Vive. Hey, hello. There we go. If I put the base stations on in the Vive, whether they would just if it would get picked up in the background behind me. You see it right up there, and it would
I don't know
bathe. All right, go
because
ahead.
you can see theirs in the naked eye, but with the naked
Yeah.
eye, but yeah. Um, that was the
What is
Oculus
our next
Rift.
story?
For those who didn't know what he was showing, that was the CV1 consumer version one. All right, so speaking of the Oculus Rift, great segue, showing all of that cool stuff because now you want one. You saw all the lights glowing on the front, and now you're like, I must have it. And guess what? Until August 31st, they have free shipping on the Oculus Rift. So, if you wanted to get one, but you were like, wow, it's already expensive, and they want to charge me like my first child for shipping, well, now it's free. You can hold on to your Rift and your child. What? Crazy. Free
You have to hold
shipping.
on to both of them?
Well, I would recommend that if your child's young, you hold on to them while they're playing with the Rift because, yeah, they get
Yeah,
crazy.
I've already had that happen. Crash, bang,
Yeah, they very much
and
lose.
all my action figures fall over.
They very much lose any sense of the fact that they're in a virtual world instead of a real one. They're just all in. It's so amazingly fun to watch kids get in those devices. So, through August 31st, you can pick up your Rift. Do it. Do it.
Ah,
What you seeing?
I can't wait to pick up the Touch.
Yeah. I'm hoping that's going to be
Come
soon.
on, Oculus.
Oculus Connect 3, which is Oculus's specific conference, is going to be October 3rd, I believe. Or it's going to be starting October 3rd, somewhere in there, early October, where we're hopefully going to get a lot more information on touch. We will not get to make it, unfortunately, but we will still bring you news from the conference as we get it. And we'll discuss
Yep.
the stuff we're seeing. We have actually both used touch, so we actually are aware of what it is. I actually like it better than the Vive controllers. I like both devices fairly equally, but I just happen to prefer the touch controllers a little better than the Vive controllers. But different schemes, and once we get the touch, we will be doing some reviews and comparisons and playthroughs, and I don't know, we're just going to run them through the ringer, and it's our excuse to get to play. Honey, I'm not playing in VR, I'm working. People on the internet need to know what I know.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic. Because a lot of people think that, man, you have an awesome job. But if people knew what it took to get to the point that they experience things based on what you used to do with me too, right? You think of those things, and uh, but the good part is their end result is, man, I wish I had your job. Okay, the end result is you saw an awesome demo of something, and you think that all I do is play all day, just having fun. Yeah, it's
Yep,
fun though.
that's what everybody used to think when I worked there. Oh, you just play and
Hmm.
have fun, and oh, you're doing what with Watch Dogs?
Yeah,
Really? You're testing it.
yeah,
Testing it. Okay. Okay, no,
yeah.
I really was. This guy, yeah, you have to know like 17 billion things about 18 billion things. Yeah.
Yes.
It's work. It's
Yep.
fun. It's fun work,
Self-starter, motivated, and
but it's
learn
work.
everything and anything.
Yep.
Yes.
It was never a boring day. All right, so um, Gamescom. So there's a lot of great information that came out of Gamescom. We're not going to cover all of it, obviously, because there's just way too much. I always keep up with Gamescom because one of my favorite games is always showcasing their elite Star Citizen, and Star Citizen showed footage for what they're going to be giving us just before the end of the year, hopefully, in Star Citizen Alpha 3.0. Star Citizen is still in alpha, but the way they do the game is they're allowing you to basically play it while they develop it, which a lot of people get frustrated by, but I think it's awesome because I get to have a hand in basically making this game awesome. I get to help them find
One
bugs and all this kind of stuff.
one of these days we have to have our Virgin Reality mashup on inside one of your ships, and have the two of us inside there, and a couple of other people, and it'll be like a bridge crew, right? And we'll just go through all the different news.
Yeah, and in one of them anyway, I
Yeah.
had a bigger ship. I got rid of it, and now I have a couple smaller ships. But I still have one that's multi crew.
So it'd be nice to use like one of your the bridge that you have on one of your ships that's big enough, or a crew space or whatever, that was the area inside big screen beta, right? So it seems like it's inside the spaceship, but we have all our screens up, and we can put a big screen, each person's screen up on the big screen.
You can do that in big screen.
Just like
nothing like that in Star Citizen. Nothing. We can get on a bridge for sure and sit in the seats and show from that perspective. And hey, I'll take you on a tour of Star Citizen. I actually plan on live streaming on. I have a set of playlists that basically Rabid Penguin's Playground, where I'm going to be just doing stuff that's not necessarily VR related, but just stuff I'm interested in. So live streams for Star Citizen. Definitely be doing some Elite Dangerous, because Elite Dangerous you can do in VR.
Yes.
And it's pretty awesome.
I do want to take a tour of your ship and tell me how to operate certain things as a crew member in VR for Verging Reality. So that just an example, a walkthrough.
Yeah, Elite Dangerous is still coming online with multi-crew. They don't have that yet. And Star Citizen doesn't have the VR support at the moment. So you can definitely jump in and play with me. You can be my gunner. There's a turret on the back of one of my ships. We can fly around, and you can be my cowboy.
There's a few viewers that are thinking, hey, I want to do that too. And others are like, where are you guys going with this conversation?
Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the Star Trek Verging Reality.
Yeah. The Starship Reality. Yeah.
Hey, there you go. I like that. I'm going to name one of my ships. Yes.
Reality.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, it's funny how we just keep accidentally segueing into like our next topics, because going back to Gamescom.
It's accidental.
Yeah.
Hold on, is that what that says on the teleprompter? Okay, yeah, it does. All right.
Shh. I'm going to have to cut you out in edit.
All right, which one are we on?
So anyway, we are on the Ubisoft sets dates for VR titles at Gamescom.
Okay.
They were showing some of their VR titles, which they actually showed most of these at E3, I believe, is when they showcased them. But they actually, at E3, they showcased their Star Trek Bridge crew. And they showcased it having like 7 of 9 and LeVar Burton and I forget who else it was that were actually using the Oculus and Oculus Touch.
They loved it.
To play this game. And they kept making fun of LeVar Burton because he said he sounded the most realistic.
Yeah, we got to find that link and put it in this spot.
Yeah, I'll do that. I will.
It's good. It's right.
All of these articles that we're doing right now, we will put in our comments down below the video, so you can come check these out yourself. Because I don't think you want us to sit here and read all of this to you. But let's see. So first up, Eagle Flight is going to be October 18th. That one doesn't require that you have a touch controller. You just use a regular hand controller. Eagle Flight, if you haven't seen it, Eagle Flight's basically where old time.
It's in PlayStation VR.
Yeah, but it's going to be on PC as well, and HTC Vive and Oculus as well.
That looks awesome.
It's actually going to. It says here it's going to be on the Oculus Rift first on October 18th, and then it's going to be on HTC Vive and PlayStation VR following on December 20th. So this is a game actually by Ubisoft. Well, the title is Ubisoft Sets Dates. So all of these games are for Ubisoft. But this is basically one. It's a multiplayer game where you fly around. It's almost like an FPS, but you're an eagle trying to defend your nest from invading eagles in a world where humans have disappeared in Paris.
And I see the Eiffel Tower right now. I'm looking at the video right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the one I'm really excited about is Star Trek Bridge Crew, where you have 4 positions. You have a captain position, communications, engineering, and navigation, I believe. And
security, navigate, yeah. Weapons.
Weapons, that's a tactical.
Yeah.
And so basically, one player gets to be the captain. I'm going to play the video here.
That's going to be a blast as a multiplayer thing.
Yeah, one of the players gets to be the captain, and he gets to give orders, and everybody's supposed to follow those orders and hopefully, and you survive basically different scenarios against Klingons and whoever else, I guess, is trying to attack the ship. The only other game I know that's kind of like this but isn't in VR is Artemis Bridge Simulator, um, which I've never played, but I've always wanted to. Where you, that's a little different than you can look it up, Artemis Bridge Simulator. But this one I'm really excited about. Apparently, the engineer has to stay really busy keeping all the power up and down based on what the captain tells him to do. And so it looks like that's going to get released on all VR platforms on November 29th, which that's interesting.
It's ready for Christmas.
Well, what's interesting about that is it's a touch game.
So that means touch is going to be out by then. Or is that going to be one of the ones that Oculus uses to get more people to get the touch? Because it's probably going to cost, touch is probably going to cost $199.
Because what's funny is, so I mean, the Vive already has a hand controller. The PSVR will launch with hand controllers. So you'll have hand control capability with at least 2 head-mounted displays. But I can't see, since Oculus showcased this as one of their major touch games, I gotta believe that means touch is going to be out before this game comes out. If I had to guess, I would guess, because originally we had heard dates about early November, right? And we're going to hear all about touch in October. I'd be willing to bet that we're going to see touch live on the consumer market before the 15th of November. You heard it here first. Have Verging reality. Before November 15th, touch is going to launch for the consumer market. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be able to get it before July of next year because of shipping problems, but it's going to launch before then. So the next one, this one's yours. This was one that John was interested in. Why virtual, augmented, and mixed reality are the fourth wave of tech over at VentureBeat.com, where Mr. Tim Merrill is kind of discussing how technology has come in waves, in sets of waves, and we had the PC, then the internet, then mobile, and he believes the next wave, and John and I agree that the next wave is VR, AR, and mixed reality, MR. I'll let you jump in on this one.
All right. So as I haven't read through the whole thing, I've got to read through all of it, but I got to tell you, just the title itself is completely appropriate because this has got to disrupt the way a lot of entities create their learning content for whatever thing. It can be professional development. It could be how you build an engine. Think of right now, there's an app called Labster for the Gear VR. I don't know if it's out for Oculus or HTC Vive yet, but a company built it out, I think, in collaboration with some universities, because what they want to do is make sure that people had the opportunity, kids whose schools and learning environments didn't have actual labs, because the DNA sequencers, all that kind of stuff costs a lot of money. And you have to have some people on staff and stuff that can run those or maintain them. So what they did is create a lab, a virtual lab that could have all of those things. So what does that do? What does that do for the exposure of those capabilities to the human population? Well, then it basically exposes it to people who would never have gotten it before. So even if one of those people that gets exposed to it that wouldn't have gotten exposed to it before learned something about DNA that changes humanity in some way, stops cancer, kills all cancer, right? Or something like that. And that's just with one learning certain aspects of it. But there's so much that could happen. So let's go to in here where it says waves break differently. The first 3 platform waves came increasingly quickly, reached greater heights, and broke differently each time. The PC wave took almost 20 years from the launch of the Apple II before it accelerated into the 90s. Fixed broadband internet took less than 5 years from launch before hitting its inflection point in the 2000s. Smartphones took only 3 years after the launch of the iPhone before they began to rocket, producing much of the tech innovation that is commercially successful today. And now, okay, so extrapolate that. So what's it going to do with VR? Well, we see it right now. So this year, 2 months ago, well, April, Oculus and the Vive become a commercial capability. By that time next year, the kind of content that's going to be available and the changes that will have already taken place. I'm not reading this off of that article, but I can extrapolate that it will be so different by then that people will have learned and expressed how to use this kind of capability in ways that even the developers hadn't conceptualized. And
well, they're already doing
you
it.
think about, yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's see. So it says today AR and VR is still in the first of the 4 stages of tech market development: hype cycle, facing reality, liftoff, and sustainable market. Its installed base from low-end cardboard through high-end HoloLens is unlikely to top 100 million units until 2018. Note, that is units installed in total, not annual sales. There will be a few $1 billion revenue this year, or a progressive ramp in 2017, and a hoped for inflection point in 2018. So what will cause the 4th wave to break? And they go into what's called the reality set. The waves within the new reality have different but related dynamics driving their scale and timing. So the point is that for a $99 Gear VR and whatever turns out to be Magic Leap may just push and push and push investment. So think of what companies have gotten into the augmented reality, have even started putting it in part of their strategy based on the success of Pokemon Go, where that just, bam, that came out of nowhere for businesses. And a lot of businesses didn't even have it inside their strategy, short-term or long-term, to look at augmented reality within their business strategy. Now, based on that success, that's going to influence dollars going somewhere that 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, when people were suggesting that augmented reality and virtual reality and mixed reality would be $120 billion-ish industry a year by 2020. And really that comes down to content development and content production, not necessarily all the hardware. Well, there's a new thing. Okay, all of a sudden Pokemon shows the value, and now more people are going to put an interest in it. So what does it do? Now it's going to also drive schools, other educational and training capabilities to invest in that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then that continues to drive and drive and drive. So, I mean, this overwhelming wave. So the point break that, go ahead.
I was going to say, so if you look at that, like you look at the picture there about the waves, one interesting point is, and here's the reason why we talk about AR and VR and all this the way we do, is you see the PC, that was a wave. Like in the ocean, right, you have a wave, it comes in, and then right behind it is another wave. And then right behind it is possibly a bigger wave, because right, the surfers are waiting to find that big wave they want to ride. But until then, there's other waves coming in. So the PC made the internet. The internet pushed us to mobile because we wanted to be more connected in ways we couldn't be because our PCs were too big and our cell phones were bigger than our face. And so people started working on making chips smaller and smaller and smaller. And all of that led to mobile phones. But the funny thing is when a wave comes in, it goes back out, right? So mobile phones led to PCs getting smaller and smaller, more powerful, because we could add more chips and more silicon and everything into it. So now basically, as I put a little note on our Facebook site where I said, supercomputer for your face, where basically with the HoloLens, you got a supercomputer on your face. This is technology that used to have to fill rooms. And now you have it basically in the palm of your hand in a cell phone, and then cell phones led to VR and AR. And what's exciting is we're already seeing where VR is leading to breakthroughs in cybernetics, is leading to breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, An article we posted on Verging Reality on Facebook about um, people who were paralyzed who were put in mechanical suits with the Oculus Rift were actually able to start moving their legs without help in limited ways for the first time. This is why we are psyched
And
out of our mind about this stuff.
And what was great about that particular study was it wasn't initially set up to make them do that. What was happening was they originally set it up just to see if inside a VR environment they could get the people and their own brains to move a virtual reality set of legs. Well, when they started doing that, what ended up happening is that these people's legs started getting feeling back. So somehow the brain said, okay, even though I physically can't do it, and all this time they didn't have an environment to experience the legs actually moving and the brain trying to work that process because the legs weren't physically capable of even receiving the signal, so why even try it? But once you did it inside a VR experience and moved VR legs, then your brain said, wait a minute, okay, let me reconnect these things. And as they started to reconnect this, they started getting the feeling back in some of their extremities and started being able to move them partly. And then really importantly, regaining bowel control, bowel movement control, right, which started to give them some of their own control. Then they put them, when they realized, oh my gosh, then they put them inside the apparatus to say, all right, if you can move a virtual set of legs, well, while you're in it, we're going to tell you to move the virtual set of legs, but they're these legs that are attached to your actual legs, and you're going to move. And when they did that, so now they started to look at how else could they use this to improve more life. But there's going to be more things that show up. And some of you are going to be interested eventually on a book that I'm putting together that is going to lay out some things that people haven't really figured out that I think I have based on based on what I've been messing with for a while. But yeah, this wave is going to be very different. So imagine what lives were like before 2010, before the tablet, before the iPad, right? That was just 2010, right? And everything was really big PCs, big bulky PCs, thicker, monitors, all that kind of stuff, and not really all of the stuff in your hand. But that was just 6 years ago. And now we're at this point where we've got this amazing VR where before you had to spend $50,000 for a headset that doesn't give you anything close to even what Google Cardboard does today with a smartphone.
Yeah.
Or
one of the many other devices
amazing
that you can just plug either an iPhone or a Android phone into for 40, 50, maybe $70 to get a decent experience. That is a little more expensive than a cardboard, but a little better as well. Not quite Gear
so my
VR,
hope is,
but
taking all this into account, my hope is that educators get the experiences and take the time to listen to those who are coming to them. Those who are coming to them and expressing, hey, why don't you take a look at this? Hey, why don't you do this? And then also those people who have the interest in it, going to educators, going to instructional designers, those who are designing curriculum for learning, and providing them an experience that's relevant to those people so that they can latch onto it and see the value within their own careers. Because people have spent 20 or 30 or 40 years doing something one way, they may not want to make the adjustment unless that adjustment appears to be very simple, very easy, and makes their job much more important and lucrative and all those kind of things. So this wave is huge, and it's just happening. Everything's happening faster and faster with technology. And because of all of those things that have led up to this, computers, internet, smartphone, computer again, and access to all this data. And just think of all the YouTube videos that everybody's watching, like right now, right? And what kids are learning from those YouTube videos. Somebody wants something, you go and look online and find out how you do it. Well, now I don't have to wait for an educator to tell me how to do something for most of the things I want to learn. If I have the motivation, I can go and do that. So what does that mean? Well, now education can become accelerated. And that's what I see 10 years from now. I don't see a traditional 4-year college education for a bachelor's degree in anything. I can see accelerated programs that take on things like Khan Academy and some of the data. And I think that's probably why LinkedIn and Windows and Microsoft and all of them are buying up certain things, because education is a very strong moneymaker in the United States and probably around the world too. I don't know those details. But if you can get a bachelor's degree, meaning you can still test the same things and allow somebody to just on their own move through certain things, don't necessarily need a teacher, but it still means the educational institution is receiving funds for that. Now it doesn't have to cost $150,000 for a 4-year education, and maybe it costs $18,000, but you have more people going through it, and you have more innovation, you have smarter people going through, and by the time somebody comes out of 4 years of education, they have what would be equivalent today of a PhD or something.
Yeah, I think it's going to take longer than 10 years for something like that, because the schools.
I'm glad you said that.
The schools are so entrenched. But let me take that back. It's going to take more than 10
innovation.
years.
Someone else is going to do it.
Right, exactly. That's what I was going to say.
It's not going to be the
typical
schools.
Brick and mortar. It's going to be the forward-leaning schools, like, and it may even be like groups like Udemy, and Google has something similar to Udemy, where they just kind of basically.
That's a great segue.
Turn into that kind of thing.
That's a great segue to the University of Advancing Technology. That's one of your articles that you wanted to cover.
So we're going to move on, and we can jump over to that one. So for those watching, and you now there's a lot of people that look at virtual reality and you think, it's just a fad. It's just a screen on your face like 3D TV. It'll go away. Or maybe you don't think that, but you think, what's the point? Why bother? I mean, what? It's just for gaming. What? The thing is, like we've already just said, these devices started off with the purpose of some guy wanted to immerse himself in his games even more, or in simulations, wanted to make simulations more realistic. And what it turned into was somebody tried it for that reason and realized, wait, I can use this for other stuff. But if it wasn't for the gaming application, it wouldn't have even come to the forefront. Because like we said, we've seen other head-mounted displays, and they weren't really trying to innovate. They were just trying to throw something at you because they were the only ones out there. But then we came down to the consumer gaming entertainment market, and now we have viable products. So we say, why do this? It's like I tell my wife, I'm excited about the idea of groups like SpaceX and others who want to go to Mars. Why go to Mars? Because it's the beginning of going to Pluto. And then maybe leaving our solar system altogether and going somewhere else. We have to take steps, right? Just like the Oculus and the Vive right now.
It's there and calling to me.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? So the Oculus and the Vive, for a lot of you guys, you just can't afford it right now, which is why we talk about things like the Gear and Cardboard, because those are very affordable and they're great experiences. Gear more than Cardboard, but there are Cardboard-like devices. The Cardboard software, the Google Cardboard software is awesome. Just the Cardboard device isn't so great. So get a different device that will run the Google Cardboard software, and you'll get some great VR experiences without having to spend the $600 to $800 for an Oculus or Vive. But eventually that Oculus and Vive isn't going to be so clunky. It's going to come, right? We have to start, right? So why launch now? Why launch the Oculus now when it makes some people dizzy, and it's not necessarily because we got to start somewhere, right? So, and that's kind of what he's talking about here. We're in a hype cycle. We're all excited, but we're going to move beyond that hype cycle. So anyway, that was, again, you can read it for yourself. We're going to have all this down there. But going back to John's segue, there's a school in Tempe, Arizona, up near Phoenix, called the University of Advancing Technology. And according to Upload VR, they are now letting students earn a bachelor's degree in VR. They have various
Yes.
different programs. I've actually looked into the school before. It just wasn't in the cards for me, but I feel like they had some really good programs. And one of the things I feel like is kind of innovative about the school, and I'm not pushing them, they're not giving us any money to talk about them or anything else, but they always seem to be leaning forward. They are a for profit school. That does bother some people, but um, John and I have both gone to online schools of varying degrees. I've gone to for profit schools that have been outstanding, better than a lot of brick and mortar schools that I've seen, better programs, just as good teachers, and they're actually tougher a lot of times to get through. I go to SNHU right now, and SNHU is just it's been a really good school. And again, they're forward leaning as well. They've just started a game development programming course that just there's not a lot of people offering it. This is why people like me and John and these other students have to go to schools like this. Now, University of Advanced Technology does have online and on campus at their Tempe campus. But yeah, they're going to let you get a degree in VR or maybe
Oh
advancing
yeah.
computer science, or they have a bunch of different degrees. They're actually recognized, I think, by the DoD as a center for excellence for cybersecurity training.
Yeah.
So,
I got a lot.
but yeah, we'll put this on there, and we'll put their website as well if you want to check them out. If you're looking for a college, or maybe looking for a college for your kids, it's very much a geek school. If you're it's they're really big about geek culture. So if you're a geek, this might be the school you're looking for. They may be the droids you're looking for. If you're a geek, you get that one. Anything particular you want to say about this one?
No, I again, it's a traditional education institute, although it's a University of Advancing Technology, so they should be leaning forward. At least they've done that.
Mm-hmm.
And so what ends up happening is other schools they could see what the results of that will be, and it's quite possible that a lot of these students that are in here next year sometime will have jobs, even if it's just a year or 2 years. It doesn't take very long to learn how to start creating certain content. And even if you can create something, some people might start monetizing that process. If you're a good artist and stuff and you spent 6 months in school, you might actually go and build some products on.
You just dropped out a second there.
Yeah, me too.
You're back now.
It said mine says display driver stopped responding and has recovered. Interesting.
You're back. I never left, by the way.
Okay, good.
Thanks. You just, bugged the whole show. Whatever.
No, hey, that's good. That's technology at its best, huh? But
This
anyways,
technology
so
I gotta
that
fix in editing.
yeah. So that school is no, you don't. That's just a little glitch. The that school is forward leaning, and others will latch on too because it'll obviously be successful. I'm just curious whether they're going to do
Oops.
this as a traditional process, or whether they're going to be innovative and it'll be somewhat accelerated.
It is an accelerated program, and it depends on which programs you take. It's not accelerated, I think, in the way that you were talking about acceleration. It's just your general acceleration, which is 8 week
Hmm.
classes, things like that. Which,
Right.
actually, I think they do
Compressed
5 week
from a
classes.
traditional 15 or 16 week
Yeah,
class.
I think they actually do 5 week classes. So, and listen, I mean, depending on what you do, you don't even necessarily have to have college for this stuff in this field. Now, if you want to work for groups like the
Right.
DoD or something like that, you might need it. It might be beneficial just to get your foot in the door, but um, there's no one that really
Well,
knows this technology. Now, we're not saying don't go get your college education. Don't go running to your mom and dad and say, hey, the guys at Verging Reality said I don't need a degree because I'm going to work in VR. So, No, we didn't say that. We didn't say that.
yeah.
Some people work in different ways. Like John is saying, you might find that Udemy teaches you the things you need faster, or Google's version, or there's multiple ways to learn. Don't stick yourself in a box. We're all about out of the
Yeah,
box
that's
thinking here.
interesting. There's a guy I know up in Phoenix who has his own game development company, and so he's using college students who aren't necessarily in 3D development, art, or any of that kind of thing, but he's paying them to learn how to do certain things. So he uses, the free applications, uses free online learning, and he tells them, look, I need to fix this or do this for the next 2 weeks. You just focus on that. So you can tell us how we're going to do that within the thing. And kids are learning how to do this, and that's how he's using some of his employees, where he doesn't necessarily pay him crazy like a AAA game company, but he's still being successful in what he's doing in this process. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, you don't, and that might get scary for some AAA game companies too, is they're going to create something after 18 months or 2 years of developing something. We're going to have a lot of indie development game companies that are going to, build some really good experiences that are worth 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks. And so it only takes them 3 months to develop it based on that kind of process and less cost to them and all those kind of things. So that's going to be an interesting other disruption in this type of industry as more and more people start to work towards that.
So we're going to move on just because I'm not really sure what time we're at here, and we just got a couple more items we want to cover, and then we're gonna stop it for this one. And this one I think we'll just cover quick. Oculus is working on a chaperone-like boundary system for touch. If you're not familiar with VR and you haven't tried the Vive, the HTC Vive has a system they call the chaperone system, and what that does is because it allows for a room scale experience with the Vive and the hand controllers. Hold on a second, I'm going to bring one up. The Vive hand controllers. These allow the Lighthouse system to track you in a limited room environment. But because you have VR on and you're standing and possibly moving around, they develop what's called the chaperone system that's supposed to keep you from crashing into walls or windows or busting up your TV or, I'd say it's mostly successful, but based on videos on YouTube with people running away from things and running into walls, it does okay. It does okay for most. I know my nephew has lost track, right, of the fact that he had it on. Even though he saw the blue things coming up, he ignored them. But anyway, so the chaperone system is supposed to basically keep you from bumping into things and hurting yourself or hurting your things. Oculus has a different kind of system. They have what they call the Constellation system for tracking. Their camera system tracks things infrared, slightly different. Well, not slightly, fairly different from the way the Vive tracks things. I don't have some touch controllers to show you yet, but when I do, you'll see them. Touch controllers will come with an extra camera. This is the Rift camera, if you've never seen it. And theoretically, with the right amount of cameras, Rift is supposed to allow you to be able to do room scale VR as well. I have actually done room scale VR in the Oculus Rift at the Oculus headquarters, so I can tell you for a fact it is possible. What I can't tell you is how many cameras did they have trained on me at the time. John has actually done it with only 2 cameras and found that when he did turn around, he did lose tracking because both cameras were in front of him. But we also know that right now, as far as we know, you can daisy chain a fairly large number of cameras with the Rift. I think it would put them at a disadvantage to the Vive if you needed 4 cameras instead of 2 sensors to actually track you in that space. But John's experience was with 2 cameras.
Like it.
Yeah, John's experience is with 2 cameras in front of him. So if you put 1 camera in front and 1 camera behind you somewhere, you might actually be able to approximate the room scale. I have a suspicion that when I tried it, they were actually using 4 cameras because there were a lot of cameras mounted on the wall, which I can talk about now because it's out. I wasn't able to talk about back then, but because they hadn't announced that they could use multiple cameras yet. So that's basically what the Chaperone system is. The Oculus is working on one, which means that even though they've actually come out and said they're still not really clear on the viability of most games in room scale VR as opposed to standing, you can already do standing experiences with the Oculus. And I can tell you from doing experiences in the PS VR, as standing experiences, just standing in a small space can be just as compelling as room scale VR, because it's really more about what you're doing with your hands and not necessarily what you're doing, with your feet. And even in standing experiences, you're still ducking behind cover and things like that. So we'll see. But yeah, so they're basically working on their version of the Chaperone system, and we're gonna have to wait for touch to find out what they come up with.
But it's coming soon.
Coming soon, hopefully. I'm hoping for not the $199 price tag, unless they throw in an extra camera with it. I'm hoping for about 150. 100,
Yeah, they're gonna. I have a feeling they're gonna throw in another camera.
Well, they'll throw in a camera. We already knew that another camera, a second camera, was going to come with the touch. But for $199, I'd want a third camera. I don't know how much the cameras cost to make, so I don't. We'll have to see. As soon as we know, we will talk about it, because that's what we do. All right, so for our final news item, because we're not fanboys of just one device or another device, we love all devices. Fair is fair. Give us Oculus, give us HoloLens, give us Meta, give us Starbreeze or Sulan. We don't care, we just want to play. So, PlayStation VR, which is coming out this year. I found this real interesting article. I thought it was interesting. PlayStation VR was reported as the fastest selling item in GameStop's history. And it says, can you believe that it took literally 5 minutes? Listen.
How many? Oh, and that's just for GameStop.
Just GameStop, yeah. It doesn't say how many they sold. Just that it sold out pretty fast. That is just GameStop, and they probably had a limited number of PSVRs. Because in other sources, the PSVR has been sold out for quite a while anyway. Just like the Oculus and the Vives were sold out. Pretty much 2 minutes after they went live, the Oculus sold out, and the HTC Vive was about the same. PSVR isn't going to be as good as Oculus and Vive fidelity-wise, but I can tell you from my experience that I didn't see a ton of difference. I mean, I didn't like the PSVR when it first came out. It was called the Morpheus, which I still prefer that name. I don't. Morpheus sounds so awesome. Why did they change it? Branding. Yeah. But I didn't like the Morpheus when it first came out. It just wasn't comfortable. That was the same time the DK2 was announced, and so I had just tried the DK2. It was so much better. Man, these guys came up with a product fast to compete. And now the PSVR, if you have a PS4, look here, right here. If you have a PS4, get a PSVR. And then you can send me thank you notes, because it's going to make you scream. It's awesome. I mean, if I have my choice, I'm going to use an Oculus or a Vive, but if I have a PS4 and I don't have any of the other stuff, I'm getting a PSVR.
And for those of you who haven't experienced it yet, there's so Best Buy, PlayStation's or Sony's working with Best Buy right now in some of the larger cities to they've got marketers there with the PlayStation VR, so people can get a little experience, a little taste of it. Do it. I missed out. I was at VR LA, and at the end of the first day, I had stopped by a Best Buy, but it was just as it was closing, and I saw it there. I was like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. And I missed out on experiencing it.
Yeah, I've tried it about 4 times now. And aside from that first experience, all the other experiences have been. Yeah, why not? Hey, 4 times. Beat that.
Yeah.
Um, and if you can't get to a Best Buy and you can't try it out, look for when it launches anyway. Look for meetups. If you're in a big enough city, look for meetups,
Yeah.
VR meetups,
Yeah. Soon we'll
because
have one.
yeah, a lot of those VR meetups that's what they are. People bring in their VR gear so that they can basically evangelize VR. Because I'm going to tell you one thing about VR people: you're either in or you're out, and we are VR evangelists. We became believers, and now we just tell everyone about it. And I think if you try it, short of having some kind of issues with motion sickness or something, because some people are still affected by motion sickness in them, you'll be a believer too.
Yeah. You tell me about your job, no matter what it is, and I could tell you how your job could be affected by virtual reality and augmented reality.
Yeah. But so anyway,
Yep.
that is our week in review. We're gonna go ahead and cut it off because I know you're probably not tired of listening to us, but we're just gonna give you a break, and you can come back
Yeah.
and check us out next time. So thanks for joining us again. Well, can't like on Facebook. You can give us a thumbs up. Give us that thumbs up. Come on, do it
Oh
right
yeah.
now. Go on. Please, if you liked it, subscribe so that you can see the next videos that we put up. Comment. Let us know. What did you like about the show? What didn't you like about the show? We're noobs. Look at our background. Look at our stage. These are our stage. So we definitely appreciate constructive criticism and feedback. We're looking to grow and to learn. Um, so yeah, come to our Facebook page at Verging Reality. You can engage with us there as well. And again, we will put all the links that we talked about in our descriptions. And we'll see you next time for our next weekend review. Until then, go out and
Take
find
care.
some reality.
Bye bye. Is this reality?
That's what we gotta do. You gotta lean towards each other. Yeah, it's really weird. Okay. All right, break.
Oh, here. High five.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. We're geeks. That's why we miss the high fives. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Bye bye.
Bye.